let's talk about the case, the student
Okay.
spotlight.
Okay.
Now their names are Cat and Chow.
Can Chow.
And give me kind of the headline here, and let's break down their strategy to contextualize the onion strategy.
This is the property that they just launched 2 months ago. And if you
Wow.
scroll down just a little bit, you can see that they've already racking up the 5-star reviews,
Beautiful.
and they're already the top 1% in a relatively very competitive market. And so this is their very first property. They come from, well, I believe Cat's from Canada, Chow's from here from the States, but they moved to this area and they didn't know where to start. And they started with their golden triangle strategy. If you guys want to learn more about that, you guys can check it out for free on my website or just go to my YouTube channel. But essentially, what it is identifying hot spots in a particular area. This one is they did something similar with the onion strategy, where you start identifying the cores, you do the
Hmm.
layering, you figure out where the foot traffic, do the demographic study and everything that we talk about. And they identified 4 spots. They asked me not to share spots because the numbers are just insane, and they want to. That's their next project and the next property, so they're currently looking in that area. So I'm like,
Cool.
fair.
All right, you'll get to respect it. All good.
Yeah, I
But this
respect
place
that.
is magnificent, by the way. Magnificent.
So when we go into it, you got to see, and I'll show it on my channel. We're doing a whole video. We're doing a tour. We're actually doing a whole case study on them inside our membership here. Today, so tomorrow at the time of this filming, they'll be in there. We're gonna go through a whole case study on this project. But the amazing thing is that we saw the before photos. Nobody would ever think of turning this into a high-end, cash-flowing, equity-building rental. And so what they did is they did the onion strategy. They found these overlapping layers. They identified the area. In this case, is in Deming, Washington. If you guys don't
Oh,
know, it's
so you
also
can
not.
say that.
What's that?
So you can say Deming, Washington.
Yeah, yeah. It's the other one that they're investing into next, where they don't want to
Got
know.
it. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay, so Deming, Washington, and that is the outer layer of what onion? Like what?
Bellingham and Seattle. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so Seattle is, hey, it's too expensive here. So they're going, what, 30, 45, 60 minutes away?
Oh yeah, it's even a little bit more than that. I think it's maybe about maybe an hour and a half away, and then it's about maybe 30. I believe it's 30 minutes outside of Bellingham. But here's the other core. The other core is Mount Baker, and Mount Baker is 30 minutes away. Mount Baker is a great place to go hiking, skiing. It's camping, everything that you can think of. And so you've got these three, or actually there's more than three, but there's three big cores with overlapping layers. It falls onto this one area, and that's where they decided to look. Implemented strategies that we talked about inside our program and our membership, and they ultimately found this property. I believe they bought it for 400K. I'll do a whole video and tour of it. I'm going up there in about 2 weeks to meet them and interview them and everything. And within, I believe, less than a year, they turned it into this thing that became the top 1%, completely booked out, making 2 to 3x, soon to be 4x. I think close to 4x this summer. Obviously, it's the first season, but they're making a lot of money off this one door, one property, which is generally not the rule of thumb. Typically, what we teach is the first door gets us to break even, second, third, fourth income streams. That's where we make the money. But in this case, their first door is making them 2 to 3x
Can
their
you
monthly costs.
can you clarify that a little
Yeah.
bit? When you say 2x or 3x or 4x, I think you just said it. But I like what do you mean? 3x of what? Expenses?
Yeah. Sorry, good question. I get excited about this stuff. It's
No.
so everything is based off of a payback period or break even. So basically, what are the monthly fixed expenses? So think about hard and soft costs. Hard costs are like insurance, taxes, mortgage, interest payments. Those are hard costs.
Hmm.
Soft costs are like Netflix subscriptions, utilities, landscaper, maintenance guy that comes out every quarter, something like that. Those are kind of like softer costs. When you add those all together, ideally we pull a median. Sometimes you can do an average too. We like median of what it is per year. You have a hard you get a set number. So in their case, it's going to be right around 3,500 to 4,000. But right now they're pulling in income of roughly 7 to 8,000. So that's a 2x, right? And then in the summertime, we believe that can get up to 11 or 12,000. That's a 3x.
Oh,
You see?
wow. Yeah. And that 3,500 number is their monthly nut,
Yes,
meaning
correct.
that
We call it yeah, it's called a monthly nut, but really it's a monthly fixed expenses is what it's traditionally called. We call it a monthly nut.
inclusive of a mortgage, yeah?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So basically on 7,000, roughly speaking, a $3,500 profit.
Yes, correct.
And then on 10,000 or 11,000, double that. So 6 to 8,000 basically in peak season.
But here's the really great part. So we look at two other numbers, and I know you know this, Rob. It's the return on the cash that you put into the property, and then your payback period. So when we look at that, so let's just say over the year, let's go more conservative, and let's say that they're clearing about 40,000 a year. That's approximately 3,500 a month. Okay, knowing that we know that peak season where they're going to do probably close to 10 to 12,000, but let's just say that they're clearing 40,000. Their cash outlay on this project, I believe, was right around 100 to 110. And we'll talk more about finance and everything inside the video when we do the tour. So what they're doing is they're getting payback on their 100, let's say it's 100, let's say 120, just to keep it clean. 120, okay. Their payback on their original investment is only 3 years.
Yeah, so it's like a 33% cash on cash return.
Exactly.
Great.
Year over year. So once they pay back their initial investment in 3 years, every year after that, it's just raining money for them, not even including the equity value that they're gaining, that 5 to 6% year over year. This one's probably a little bit more in the first year. Every single year they're making that. So kind of like this is them starting their clock. They start their clock now. And in the next 5 years, they're going to basically get all their initial investment dollars back. And they're going to be making 33% on the money that they put into this project.
Kind of wild, right? And so this is all outside of an hour and a half outside of Seattle.
Absolutely. Where they could afford it. There's no way they could afford to do something like this. Instead, city zoning, permits, cost. Yeah, it'd be too prohibitive.
So now is the plan, if we were going to follow, and this may not be their plan, but let's just say we were going to properly follow the onion strategy. Mm-hmm. They roll the cash and equity into a city center that's even kind of in between this place in Seattle?
Yeah.
Or do they now, you said that Mount Baker, I think, is 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
So now are they trying to move in closer to Mount Baker since that's another target market? Or are you not allowed to say?
No, it's a very wise question. Now, normally what you would do is, you're right, you would start moving towards another core. Okay. However, they love this so much, and they're really good members of our program. They've been with us for like 2 years now, and they're actually doubling down, and they're going into another area. Now, this is really interesting because it's kind of the opposite of the onion strategy, getting closer to a core, is that they're going to another area where they think they can capitalize, more of a rural area. And this is the really cool thing that just actually, I believe this report was just released, but it was showing the growth rate of where most income is created by short-term rentals. And it is hands down, bar none, rural areas. Cities are basically dead. Suburban areas are really low. Vacation areas are kind of like mid. And then, but rural areas with acreage is like head and shoulders above everybody else. And so that's what they're doing, is they're doubling down, not necessarily in a core, because they see the cash flow here. You won't get this type of cash flow. I mean, maybe you can, but at like maybe a 3x in terms of buy-in price in Seattle. But I don't think that you can get that type of return even in Seattle. So they're doing it again in a more rural area, and they're going to be on the outskirts of a core. But they're going to use what they've learned from this project to implement it again.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Good for them. That's like legitimately life-changing money.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many others that we can talk about. And Nathan, who I've talked to you a little bit about, he's a nurse in New York City. His property right now, he got 3 cabins and he's expanding it to 8 doors on 8 acres. Life-changing money, $25,000 a month. So, and then his monthly nut is about $9,200 to $9,500, including soft and hard costs.
Crazy.
So, and that's his very first project. 0 real estate experience. 31 years old. He's a smart guy. He can execute, but in terms of like growing up with a silver spoon in his mouth, anything like that, not at all. And it's these folks who are doing this. They're making, like you said, life-changing money. Is changing the trajectory of their entire careers and what they choose to do. Nathan right now is actually not even working. A lot of our folks are actually retiring early to focus on their portfolios now.
Yeah, because if you figure out, that's always the thing, going back to what we talked about, where like you want to advance that black belt. When you become a black belt, looking at it retroactively, you probably think about, oh man, when I was getting started, this seemed impossible. But now that I actually know what I'm doing, no, if I had the coach or the kind of the feedback or the learnings that how can I contact? Like basically, if I had the blueprint for this very early on, I could have gotten there a little bit faster. And I think with real estate, it's the same way, where everything that I've done now, and I think a lot of people in my audience and a lot of my students are like, oh my gosh, I want what you have. It's so crazy. Like you're smart. And I'm like, no, my failures have amounted to what I have now, but I had to fail a lot. And now looking back at it, like it wasn't brilliant. It was just taking it slow and like working through it a little bit. And I think with some of these people that you're talking about, they probably like know this blueprint now. They're probably like, yeah, okay, that was hard, but I think I could just do it again and again and again times 10.
Hey, by the way, if you liked this conversation, I've got good news for you. There's way more where that came from. If you want to watch the whole thing, click right here.